Hi, everybody. Hello, hello. Happy Wednesday. I hope everybody's having a good Wednesday. And I'm coming today, and I told you I was going to do something all about um, boundaries, and I am, and particularly because of some stuff that's happened over the last couple of days, and the fact that I think people really don't have healthy boundaries. And I think a lot of people encourage people not to have healthy boundaries because they want to codepend on you, or they want you to be codependent on them. They want you to need them. They want you to support them while they don't support you. They want to have you as an outlet for their anger, and stuff. And they want to not take responsibility, and they want you to take responsibility. And some stuff's been happening over at Twitter. And if you follow my Twitter account, which on Married Girl in a Weird World, all my Twitter stuff is kind of on the side. You can follow my Twitter account. You'll know. One is one hashtag that was going on Monday was solidarity is for white women, which was big. And I'm sure if you have Twitter at all, you probably heard about that one. But yesterday's was Black Power is for Black men, which was big and stuff. And talked about a lot of issues. And I think as one of the folks I follow on Twitter and talk to, Rosalind Hardy Holcomb said that I thought it was more of a thing for Black women to come together and talk about their pain that they've suffered at the hands of Black men's misogyny in the Black community, and the Black community not really seeing them as viable, as important, but always wanting to wanting their support and wanting them to, ride or die with them, I mean, literally, standing on your back and standing on your neck, and stuff, and not really doing anything to help or protect Black women, which I still think goes on way too much. I didn't see it as a thing for us to try to come together and have a hug 'em out moment with Black men. I could care less about that. But I know people were trying to encourage that today. I guess Ebony Magazine and The Root were trying to encourage Black women to come and, for Black men to come and have a hug them out moment. Yeah, screw that. Whatever. I'm not hugging them out with people that are abusing me and treat me like crap and emotionally abusing me, and stepping all over my boundaries with no consequences. There will never be a hug them out moment. Okay. Until people acknowledge what they do and apologize and then actually have some change in their behavior. Until then, I would suggest that nobody have a hug 'em out moment with anybody. Okay, and stuff. All this, Black women, we do too much and ask for too little. And I was just saying some stuff today. I know the anger of Black men when you try to buck against them. I know they're all angry and upset and all that stuff, which, yeah, once again, I don't care. But some of the women who are participating in it, and stuff, some of the male identified women who are participating in that, trying to, oh, we're together. Yeah, girl, we ain't in this together. And, oh, we have to come together. And, the relationship between Black men, there is no relationship between Black men and Black women. It's a myth. There is no, we're all in this together, kumbaya sort of thing. That's a myth. It's all in your head. Um, you know, that's most Black men wouldn't even spit on you if you were dying of thirst in the street. Okay, and so it's sort of this thing of those women who have no boundaries and who don't know how to even stick up for themselves, deciding to be a part of their own oppression, which I don't even get or understand. Okay, and stuff, and doing that and stuff. And as I was a victim of emotional abuse from my first husband, and he was white. And I tell that people that freely. I don't give nobody no pass. It's not like I'm, when I tell you something about, dating interracially and stuff, I'm giving white men a pass or saying they're just great and fantastic. Not of all of them are and stuff, and they'd get the same thing from me as anybody else does. But this is not a thing about white men because, I'm not really worried. White men is not the ones that's treating me bad, and stuff on no wholesale level. It's black men that are doing that are treating me bad and treating me like crap and, saying bad stuff about me and dogging me and, and stuff and looking at somebody that looks like you or looks like your mama and then dogging her out, calling her names and, hating my skin, hating my hair, and all that stuff. That's where I'm getting the issues from, and stuff. And yeah, it sucks. But, the thing is, since I have healthy boundaries, I don't take much from nobody, and stuff. And I know how to stand up for myself, stick up for myself, and not be intimidated. I had many a black man come on my Twitter connection and tell me how I had no right to stand up and advocate for black women because I was married to a white man. Listen, if you're watching this and you're one of those men, dude, I don't really care what you think about me being married to a white man. I don't care. You want to be really upset and mad. He treats me really fantastic. I mean, he treats me so well, and stuff. And I'm a loved and cared for wife, and, I just like to know where your loved and cared for black woman wife is. Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm not going to get many answers for that and stuff. So I could care less trying to intimidate me into silencing me for advocating for black women by saying something about I can't say anything about, black women or yeah, whatever. Save that for some other idiot, okay? I'm not the one. And today I'm going to start talking about how you get some boundaries. So that was the last part in this book. And I didn't remember we were talking about this book. And I didn't really get to the last part of the book, which was how do you make boundaries? How do you actually make those things? Developing healthy boundaries. How do you do that? How do you make the steps to do that? And I started reading it. I hadn't read it in a while, and I started reading it, but I remember most of it. It's really an awesome book, and I remember most of it. And I'm going to continue talking about it, and we're going to start talking about people having resistance to boundaries, because that's probably going to be your hardest part. Just as yesterday, as black women were setting up boundaries, talking about their pain and all that stuff, there were so many people resistant to that process. They were resistant to them setting up boundaries. They were resistant to even facing consequences. They didn't want to hear it. They didn't think it even mattered how they felt, and they kept trying to silence them and say, well, why don't you go somewhere else and do this? Why don't you go somewhere? Why don't you go somewhere and we can quietly talk about this and stuff, not in front of white people. Listen, black women, the way black men are treating you is not no secret to nobody. Okay, it's not. And even telling you to go over to the side, really not to listen to your issues, but to silence you even more, is not gonna work. The way black men are treating you and dogging you out, girl, that's not a secret. It's happening all in the street. Okay, everybody knows about it. It's so bad that other people have decided to jump on board and think it's okay to treat black women badly and to talk badly about black women and stuff. They're being led by example, and stuff. So, I'm not going to go anywhere and I'm not going to be quiet and I don't really care and stuff, about people being mad and all this stuff. I could care less. Nobody's going to threaten me into silence. And so today we're going to talk about resistance to boundaries. And the first part I'm going to talk about is outside resistance. Because as I said, that's the biggest issue you're probably going to have. And then we're going to talk about internal resistance. And essentially what I saw yesterday, which is, people resisting inside themselves about making boundaries, thinking they're gonna be perceived as mean or not supportive, or they're gonna lose the support of people. But outside resistance is a big one, and it's really hard. To have outside resistance to your boundaries. A lot of people, when they first start making boundaries and stuff, you really need to be in safe places where people honor your boundaries. Because it's really hard if you make boundaries and you never had boundaries ever before in your life, and then you suddenly make them in a place where people are already resistant to your boundaries. You're not going to be able to make it. You're just not. You're not equipped to hold up to some of the stuff that people do when they're resisting other folks' limits and stuff. First one you'll probably get is angry reactions. The most common resistance one gets from the outside is anger. People who get angry at others for setting boundaries have a character problem. It's not your problem, it's their problem. They have a character flaw. Self-centered, they think the world exists for them and their comfort. They see others as extensions of themselves. Instead of them being their own separate person and you being your own separate person, you're some part of them, so you're supposed to give in to every little whim and need that they have and stuff. When they hear no, they have the same reaction as a 2-year-old who has been deprived of something. Bad mommy. They feel as though the one who deprives them of their wishes is bad, and they become angry like children. They are not righteously angry at the real offense. Nothing has been done to them at all. Someone will not do something for them, and their wish is being frustrated, and they get angry because they have not learned to delay gratification and to respect others' freedom. The angry person has a character problem. If you reinforce this character problem, it will return tomorrow and the next day in other situations. It is not the situation that's making the person angry, but the feeling that they are entitled to things from others. They want to control others, and as a result, they have no control over themselves. So when they lose their wish for control over someone, they lose it. They get angry. The first thing you need to learn is that the person who is angry at you for setting boundaries is the one with the problem, not you. If you do not realize this, you may think you have a problem. Maintaining your boundaries is good for other people. It will help them learn what their families of origin did not teach them, to respect others. Second, you must view anger realistically. Anger is only a feeling inside the other person. It cannot jump across the room and hurt you. It cannot get inside you unless you allow it. Staying separate from another's anger is vitally important. Let the anger be in the other person. He will have to feel his anger to get better. If you either rescue him from it or take it on yourself, the angry person will not get better and you will be in bondage. Third, do not let anger be a cue for you to do something. People without boundaries respond automatically to the anger of others. They rescue, they seek approval, or they get angry themselves. There is great power in inactivity. Do not let an out-of-control person be the cue for you to change your course. Just allow them to be angry and decide for yourself what you need to do. Make sure you have a support system in place. If you are going to set some limits with a person who has controlled you with anger, talk to the people in your support system first and make a plan. Know what you will say. Anticipate what the angry person will say and plan your reaction. You need to make sure you do that when you're first setting up boundaries. If you know all the time that your sister or your boyfriend or friend gets angry every time you try to set a boundary, you need to have a plan of action that knows what to do when they start. You know, because if you don't, like I say, you're not, at this point, you're probably not strong enough to just resist them on auto. What you will automatically do is probably what you've done before, which is rescue them, seek approval, or maybe get angry yourself. You may even want to role play the situation with your group. Then make sure your support group will be available to you right after that confrontation. Perhaps the members of support group can go with you, but certainly you will need them afterward to keep you from crumbling under the pressure. Fifth, don't allow the angry person to get you angry. Keep a loving stance while speaking the truth in love. When you get caught up in an eye for eye mentality of the law or the returning evil for evil mentality of the world, you will be in bondage. If you have boundaries, you will be separate enough to love. Six, be prepared to use physical distance and other limits that enforce consequences. Um, you have to know that, you can walk away, and that, you can walk away from people. You can put distance between them. If you and the friend have a problem, you can put distance between them. You and the boyfriend have a problem, you can leave and go somewhere else. Even if you and a spouse have a problem, you need to leave. And it's in the Bible. You need to flee from evil. Okay. And that's something that you need to do if you're having some problems with folks. If you keep your boundaries, those who are angry at you will have to learn self-control for the first time instead of other control, which has been destructive to them anyway. When they no longer have control over you, they will find a different way to relate. But as long as they control you with anger, they won't change. Sometimes the hard truth is that they will not talk to you anymore, or they'll leave the relationship if they can no longer control you. This is a true risk. Um, God takes care of this risk every day. He says that he will do things the right way and he will not participate in evil. And when people choose their own ways, he lets them go. Sometimes we have to do the same thing. Next week, I'm going to talk about guilt messages and stuff. That was first part of talking about boundary resistance, and we're talking about anger. And I want you to think about those things as you start thinking about what you're going to do as you try to set up boundaries. Anger will be the first part of this, and stuff. And this will be, we're going to have this as a whole, as we continue on the rest of the series, and about boundaries and everything. This will be a big thing, because this is, about boundaries, why you need them, what difficulties you have, what people are doing. But now comes the hard part. It comes the work of you actually setting up good and healthy boundaries for yourself with people. It's not easy, but to tell you the truth, the thing about it is, after you do it, you feel better, and stuff. Now, everybody else may not be better, and everybody else may be upset. They may be angry. They may try to guilt you. They may do a lot of things, but really, that's not your problem. Your problem is making sure that you have healthy boundaries for yourself. So you keep bad stuff out and you let good stuff in. That's all that matters, okay? All the rest of this about people being angry because you've set up some boundaries doesn't have anything to do with you. That's their issue, and they need to take care of that issue and stuff. And as I said, you may have people who walk out of your life and you never see them again. That's okay, too. If people can't honor your healthy boundaries, then you know what? Maybe they didn't love and care about you as much as you thought in the first place. And it's okay to let them go. And stuff. So next week we'll be talking about guilt messages. And this week we talked about anger. And, I hope you all got something from this. I'm loving doing the rest of this and stuff. I can't wait to get to the end of this. And then we start talking about boundaries in marriage, which will probably help me also. So I'll talk to you all later. Bye-bye.